Helm. Okay, so let's do it on Windows itself. Okay, so Helm is a package manager for Kubernetes. Okay, so what is the advantage of using the Helm? Okay, Helm actually talks about you don't need to write the complete deployment YAML. Okay, so they have predefined deployment YAMLs. In that, you just change the values and you will be able to deploy pre-existing applications. Like for example, your application needs like a 4 deployment. Okay, and it is going to take a longer time for everyone to create the deployment YAML and all those stuff. Then it's a problem for you. Okay, so that is where Helm comes into picture. And Helm actually has a public repo. We call it as Helm charts. Okay, in the GitHub, you can find the. So this is basically an older one, but it's okay. We can just say that. So here, what they will do for every application, they will create a Helm chart, and that you can use it. For example, if you want to use the front-end, okay, they will create a template, and I will talk about this templates and other stuff. So for every deployment, it is going to create pre-existing YAMLs will be there. And only thing is you have to put a values.yaml. There will be a file called values.yaml. If you modify the values in the values.yaml, then it is going to implement or replicate inside the actual deployment files. Okay, we'll see a full example of this. So I'm just showing these are all the public Helm charts which are available. So currently they have their own repo. Previously they were with the GitHub. You can just refer their public repository also. So Helm is available for both Windows and Linux. Let's go back to our Windows. From there, let's do that. Okay, so first let us install Helm on your machine. Okay, this is also like kubectl. You have to just download it and place it on the directory where you are working out. Okay, and then from there you can use it. Okay, so install
this good thing.
Helm. So you can see that there will be helm.exe. This is the exe file which we needed. I'll just share you the link. Okay. So download the zip file. There, just copy the extract this helm.exe to the trainings folder. OS batch 1 training. So once you are done with that, just run the Helm version. You should be able to see a version, then we are good. Download the zip file and extract the helm.exe to the folder in which you are working, and then run the command called Helm version. So the first thing is I'm going to create a sample repository. So there is a default repository which will comes up with the Helm. So the option to create a template is Helm create as F5RS2. So first template is the template name. You can keep it any name you want. I'm just going to keep this. So once you run the command, you should be able to see a folder has been created called first template. And inside that, if you see, there will be charts that is empty. And there will be a template folder. This is where your templates are going to sit in. Okay. And then it is having your values.yaml. So basically, This is the file I'm going to provide the input for this. Okay. So I'll walk you through this, and there will be a charge.yaml. This is where you can maintain the versions for the deployment. Okay. So here, how this actually works is in the templates only, you are going to keep the actual thing. Okay. So when we do a deployment, what we normally do in a deployment, we will create a deployment and we will create a service. And if needed, we will create a service account. And if wanted, we will create a horizontal pod autoscaler. Or if the service is exposed as an ingress service, we are going to write an ingress. Okay. Let us see the deployment YAML first. In the deployment YAML, so normally what we will do, the same YAML format you can see it here. Okay, whatever we see, let's do that. So in the API version app/v1, kind is deployment, and in the name field, okay, it is going to say first template dot full name. Okay, so the full name will come from the name of the template, right? So this is coming from the chart. Okay, it is going to come from the name of the deployment, that application. Here the deployment name will be first template. Okay. And next is, it is going to create a label, right? That is going to take the first 4 letters of the label. Okay. And in the specs, next we'll be providing the specs, right? And number of replicas, it is going to come from the values. If you see in the values, the replica count is 1. Okay, it is going to use that. You will see how it is getting dot values dot replica count. In that case, it is going to refer the values file. There it is going to take the replica count. Okay, the next will be your selector and all those stuffs. Okay, and next is your image. In the containers, you can see image. It is going to get from the values.image repository values.image.tag. So in the values, I have the image repository. The name is Nginx and tag is empty. That means it will use the latest version of Nginx. Okay. And image pull policy is also coming from the values. So it is going to, if not present means it is going to download the image only if the image is not present. We have seen always method prior. Okay. And like the same time, you can see the port number, liveness probe, readiness probe, right? And node selector and node affinity is like, if I want to restrict it to run on a particular node, I can just do that. All these values are going to come from the values. Okay. If I want to create a service account, I can provide that. That will be in the service account. Okay. And like that, the cluster, the service type is cluster IP. And if you see that, there will be a service.yaml. There it will be referred that. So the same deployment YAML where instead of putting the values, it is storing everything under the templates. And there it is going to fetch the information from the values file. Okay. So this is where I'm going to talk about in the values. It is like port number is 80 and the type is cluster IP. So it will be created as a internal service. Okay. Like that, if you want to create a service account, so the information you can provide it like a service account in the values. If you want a service account, you can just do it. That is the service account. Yeah. So this is the service account. So if you want to give the name, you can provide the name for the service account. Okay. Like that, you have inputs for your ingress. If you want to create an ingress, you can use it. We are not going to use the ingress here. And next is, if I want to use any limits for the resource, I can use it here. You can see it is referred from the YAML in the values file.
Satish, what is the training folder? Might be like I'm just following. So training folder
is template. No, we have one directory where we have stored the kubectl, right? That directory I was referring to.
Okay. kubectl, right? Okay.
Just put it in the same directory where you have the kubectl.
Okay, so but in last three classes, like we are using in the AWS environment, right? So I mean, but this Helm should be like in the same folder. Where
so
you
basically, Helm uses the same config file used by kubectl. Helm also looks for the kube config file in the same location. So you don't need to write anything separate for that.
Okay, but you are not putting in that AWS environment, but for showing you are putting here, right?
No, I'm going to deploy this application using Helm. I'm going to deploy one now.
Okay. Let's see. Okay.
In the same cluster, I'm going to deploy application using Helm. I'm just walking you through what are the files inside the default YAML it has created. That's it.
Okay.
So the default one, what it does is it is going to create a Nginx container, because this is what we have been using till now. Okay, it will use the latest Nginx stack and put that, and it will expose the service as a cluster IP. Let's do one thing. Let's modify the values.yaml. That is, so let's modify the values.yaml to expose this as an external service. Notepad first template / values. So coming back to the Helm, I told Helm is a package manager, and I'm just going to create a deployment chart, which by default has a template, right? It has a deployment, it has a HPA, it has an ingress, service, and service account. Okay, it's up to you. You can also create your own chart, and in that, whatever components you want to bring in, you create a YAML like that, where you are going to get the values from the value. You write the deployment YAML once. Okay, inside that you just get the respective value from the values dot that value from the values.yaml file. Okay, so you can also create a YAML file for the daemon set. In the daemon set, you can get the required value from the in the values.yaml. Okay, so let us modify the values.yaml file of this default one. The first template I have values.yaml. We modify the values.yaml here. Let me do two changes. Instead of Nginx latest version, let me use a particular version of Nginx. Latest was 21. Let me use the 20 point something we have used, right? Yeah, 1.20.1. We'll use the 1.20.1. So the notepad in the tag, let me provide 1.21, and the type I'm going to change it to load balancer instead of cluster IP. Let me save this. So let me highlight the changes. The type I'm changing to load balancer, and also in the tag I'm going to put 1.20.1. And to apply this, okay, prior to the apply, there is a command called lint. Okay, lint is basically to check the code syntax check and all those stuffs. Okay, so the command is helm lint /first template if there is any syntax issue on the template, you'll be able to identify with the lint concept. So you can use that. And Helm also provides a testing option. Okay, you can write your test cases here. Right? So this basically tests the application. So once it is applied, okay, whether it is going to get the, if you want to test, it is going to get the wget of the particular URL and it is going to check it on the particular port name. Okay. So you can also use this test, you can write test cases for the application in the Helm that you can define in the test connection.yaml. So it will check whether the connection is working fine or not. Okay. And let us try to, let's not try to apply that. So Helm also provides you an option called debug or dry run, something called dry run. Before applying, you want to see what are the services it's going to create. You can do it with the dry run. So the command is Helm install. The command is Helm install. You need to give a name for the application. Let me call it as first app. Okay. --, dry -run -debug /first template. Okay. So this is going to talk about, it is going to bring up an app called first app, and dry run tells that don't apply it, just display what you're going to do, and debug will print the debug information of the install. So let me run this. So this is going to check. Okay. So this is the final YAML which it is generating to apply. Okay. If you see that. So these are all the computed values. It is going to pull the image only if it is not present. And the repository is Nginx. This is the version it is going to use. And this is for testing. This is the testing pod which is going to bring it up. And this is the service account it is going to create. And this is the service it is going to bring up. Type is load balancer. And this is the deployment YAML. Okay, and you will get an output like this. So this is the option to see what it is going to do when we execute that. So to install this, we can run it without the debug and dry run. So this should create a pod, this should create a service, all those things which should be there. Once it is done, you go to your dashboard, you can see a service created, you can see a deployment created, and the number of replicas is only one. So one pod should be there. So this is the pod. If you click on the service endpoint URL, let's give it some time. So Helm by default uses the config file of the kubectl. Check the version of the Nginx. It is using 1.20.1. Okay. Using Helm, I have deployed this application and I'm able to see it is using the image version 1.20.1. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to update the Helm or let's say I want to update this. Okay, so let me make some modifications to it. So notepad values.yaml, that let me change, ask it to use the latest version, and the replica count, let me increase it to 3, and let me save this. So the changes I'm making is I'm increasing the replica to 3, and then I'm increasing the replica to 3, and also I'm changing the tags to be pointed to the latest version. So here, if I want to make the changes, so let me, the command is, so if I want to update an existing deployment, the command is Helm upgrade, the app name is first app, dot slash, the location of the Helm. Helm upgrade, the name of the app which I developed, that is first app, and the location of the Helm is under the first template directory. Okay, and please note it down. It is automatically creating a revision 1 and 2. Okay, it automatically creates the revision. Let's see that once I do that, let's see in the deployments, the deployment. So it should be 3 out of 3. If I go to my services, it will be the same thing. And pods, I should be able to see 3 pods running for it. And if I refresh my app, it should, oh, 1.16. Let me just check. Okay, now I see, I will show you why it is showing 1.16.0. So there is a file called charts.yaml. You see that? The charts.yaml, I have told the app version. Okay, so that's why it is using the 1.16. So if you don't provide anything in the tag, it is going to take it from the app version. Okay, so it is downloading the image version from here. So that's why it is 1.16.0. I could have given it to latest. Let me change it to the latest and let me upgrade it again. I can see the revision 3 will be created, and this time this should be pointing it to the should have created one more replica set. Yeah, it should have created new set of pods. Yes, this is using latest image. So that it should be 1.21.0. This is also I can provide. So from the charts, it was taking the image. So that's what you see in the deployment.yaml. Let's see the template, deployment.yaml, what it is saying. The image version it should use value image repository, value image tag, or if there is no value there, default chat app version. So it will take it from that. It is this or this. As I have an empty value, it was referred to the chart app version. So let us see how do I roll back in Helm. Helm also creates a history. So the option is Helm history first tab. So you can see it was first one was the installation and second one was the upgrade. You can see that here, all these things here. And if you want to go back to a particular version, you can say Helm roll back and I want to go to the revision 1. So I need to give the first tab the app name. First tab, revision 1. Rollback was successful. So now I should see it is pointing to the previous rollback version. It should take me to the previous replica set. It is 1 out of 1. For the first version, I have only 1. So if I refresh it, I should take me to the 1.20.1. So this is how you can roll back to a particular version. Okay. So if I want to delete a repo, the option is Helm delete first tab. So you have done a deployment and you want to delete all the resources which are part of that. The option is Helm delete So if you see that the deployment will be gone, pods, those pods will be gone, service will also be gone. So this way you can delete it. So you can play around with Helm, okay? And there are lots of public repos available, okay? You can convert your GitHub into a Helm repo. You can convert your storage like S3 or Google into a Helm repo. Or even if you have an Artifactory, you can convert into a Helm repo. There are documents available for that. So there you can store the Helm chart. And from there, you can download and use it. Okay. Nowadays, most of the products which are microserviced, they are giving them with the Helm packages only. They don't give it like a. They also give it like a single Docker. But if you want to install the complete application, you can use them as the Helm repo also. So a typical example will be your Jenkins Helm. This is the chart. Yeah. So basically, you can just add this repo, and from there you can pull it and use it. This is the Jenkins community Kubernetes Helm chart. Like that you see most of them. So Hadoop chart available. You can bring up the Hadoop cluster. Like that, most of the tools you see that nowadays. MySQL. You can use this. This is one of the good Helm repo. You can use Bitnami. You can see lots of things in that artifact hub. Prometheus, all those things, Sumo Logic. Second is the artifact hub. This is on the Helm part.